Hello and welcome to Community Conversations. This is a series where we'll be talking to members of our community about passions that they have on their heart. Today I talked to Josh. We have a really great conversation about the passion which he has for the environment. I really hope you enjoy it and join us for future episodes. So, Josh.
Hello.
Who are you? Tell me about yourself.
I'm Josh, and I actually don't work in the sort of green industry, which is what we're going to be talking about today. But I work as a singing teacher. So main practice is teaching singing, running choirs, running workshops as my general area. And then the green side is almost a passion that's alongside my job as well.
Awesome. So you've got this passion alongside your job. Do they coincide at all, or do you just keep all your singing to the private time in the shower?
They do in certain aspects, yeah, because for my work I have to do travelling. So I'm constantly thinking about, okay, well, if I'm travelling, how can I reduce my carbon footprint? So there's obviously all the elements to that. And then when you are teaching singing, if you're using things like props or straws for various reasons, you might say, well, what are the straws about? That's for another another conversation. Yeah, episode 2, the singing. So I think about reducing plastic and stuff like that. So I'm always connecting the two, just to everyday life, really.
Awesome. So when did this passion of yours really? Obviously, you've probably thought about it in the back of your mind for a long time, but when did this passion really take a hold of your life?
So I think I've always loved animals, loved nature. I just have always appreciated that side of things. But I think when it really, really struck me was actually during the lockdown. And I found that during lockdown that, we were able to go out and have those walks, weren't we? One walk a day that we were allowed. Yeah. And so I'd go out and I tried to do it every single day so that I could get some fresh air. And as I was walking through this really strange period in time, the things that I did notice which were better were, the skies were clear for weeks. I mean, we had like 4 or 5 weeks of just pure sun. The roads were quiet. There wasn't any haze in the sky, all those things. And that's where it really got to me, that what a difference it's made when we just stop for a minute and we're just leaving nature to be. I saw more butterflies, I saw more bees, overgrown forests wherever I was going. It was just really nice to see. So that's what really got me on this journey and looking into it and building upon that, really. Right.
So what changes have you made in your own life that since sort of realising this passion? What changes have you made in your own life?
So I've made some smaller changes and then some more drastic ones as well. So the smaller ones for me have been things like changing my soap. So going from bottles to just a soap bar or a shampoo bar, just to reduce plastic. So that's something small. And then I've made bigger changes as well in my life. So now I try to buy less clothes and I go for some more recycled stuff or charity shops or whatever.
Yeah, so your T-shirt says, this T-shirt is rubbish.
It is, and the jeans as well. Both of these are, this is from recycled material.
Right.
And this is purely made of plastic and rubbish, I think from dumpsters probably. I know. And it feels just...
It's nice and soft.
Normal
nice.
T-shirt.
Wow, that's really impressive. So you've made these active choices to be more...
Yeah, exactly. So there's some of the smaller things, and there are obviously bigger things that you can do as well. And I think it's important to remember that if you are doing this, that making changes is a really individual journey. The smallest thing can have the biggest impact. So you don't have to go out there and make these, drastic changes, although that they are good. It's really about what's good for you, and that's how I find it. And everything is about balance, and it's just once again relating it to work. It's the same with teaching singing. Everything is about balance, and you're never going to be perfect, but we can strive to better ourselves. And yeah, just being on that journey. And obviously now I've made some bigger changes. As you know, I've just gone to move to an electric car.
As soon as you see Josh driving around, you won't hear him, but you'll see him.
See me in my bright orange car. I nearly said the brand then. I won't do that.
No. Wow. So your new car. So tell us, how long have you had it now? A couple of
Just over a week.
Just over a week, isn't it?
So not very long.
No.
It's been something that I've wanted to do for a while. But
Have you enjoyed being on the green roads?
I have, yeah. It's been very nice.
What's the biggest change that you've realised?
That's a good question. I have to schedule in more time to work out my charging.
Oh, okay.
So that is my own sort of. I'm not able to charge from home. Most people will be able to. However, the biggest change is the quietness, and now not having in the back of my head that every time I'm going for a journey, especially the short journeys, that I'm making this really bad trail of carbon footprint.
Yeah. So that's really minimised the size of your footprint, I guess. Going forward, you leave hardly any footprint of carbon when you're driving around.
In the long run, certainly. Yeah, you do. In the long run. And then there's other sides to that as well, and that's going back to thinking about lockdown last year, which is noise pollution. I mean, one of the things that's not discussed with electric cars, and there's lots of controversy out there already, and obviously about batteries, and yes, they produce more CO2 to actually make them. But in the long run, I'm thinking about noise pollution so that animals don't have to shout across to each other. And so that's a nice
vocal coach thinking about the animals' voices as well.
It's
singing. Not just human
always
voices.
Always really into singing, always. So the animals also are able to communicate better, which is better for their environment and less stressful for them, but also for our own ears as well.
Yeah.
It's better for that in the long run and moving forward.
That's really quite amazing that you've made that change, and obviously it's going to impact your life further with your charging and so on and so forth. Dietary-wise, you're a vegetarian as well.
Yes.
So I'm springing this upon you. I haven't asked him to prepare anything.
Okay.
Can you cook me a dish? No. So can you?
This is a wrong program.
Here's one I did earlier. What sort of meals do you have? Because obviously I'm not a vegetarian. Obviously, if you can convince me in this episode, that would be phenomenal, because I do love bacon and meat, as you may know. But what sort of meals do you tend to have weekly that you could suggest for others that are actually quite an easy switch over?
Well, believe it or not, personally, I actually eat better now that I'm a vegetarian. I mean, I was always a bit rubbish at preparing my meals. I'm self-employed, so you never know when your jobs are, and you're always darting in and out, and your schedule changes and all that sort of stuff. However, since dropping the meat, and I was a meat eater for most of my life, and so there's still times where I think about it for sure, but then the balance, that whole in the back of my mind, that voice saying what this is, the effect that this is having on the environment is far outweighs it for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is personal choice again.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I've actually really loved making new dishes. I've been experimenting recently. I've eaten so much more veg than I've ever eaten in my life. So every week now, I will go and buy loose veg from the shops. Making all sorts. I mean, what do you want? What?
Right, so it's
vegetable curries.
Oh, okay.
I'm making beans with veg wraps now.
Yeah.
So sort of quesadillas and all that sort of stuff. The other night I had a nice vegetable lasagna. So most of the things that you have with meat, you can make without and swap out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that everyone's pretty much been brought up to go, it's not a meal without a bit of meat. Well, actually, you can have a decent meal
without having a bit of meat in there.
And there are alternatives to meat as well. If you are wanting to reduce that, you can go for other alternatives.
Yeah, that's really quite insightful. Obviously, for me, I fall completely into the trap that you're on about of it's not a meal without a bit of meat on it. And actually, there are many times you could definitely go without. Yeah.
So I've got this thing coming up with my friend Joe Peel, and we do something called the Meat Free March, which we're going to be doing again this year. We did it for the first time last year, and it's for anybody who wants to just try to either reduce their meat consumption or to whatever, you might choose to want to completely phase it out. However, there's no pressure. So what we're doing is saying we're going to give people a whole list of recipes throughout the whole of March.
Oh, through the month of March.
Through the month of
I
March.
was, I was
did you think I
thinking
meant?
it was a meat-free march, and I was thinking, well, that's fine. I can march somewhere without having.
Ah,
a
okay,
bit of
sorry. No,
snack.
yeah, we're not marching
It's
anywhere.
not marching.
No,
it's a
no,
meat-free
no.
march. Got it. Sorry.
The month march, that makes more
Yes,
sense.
that
Well,
makes
would
a lot more sense.
That's a good idea as well, though. Maybe we could do that.
Maybe we could go for the meat-free march.
Yes.
Ah.
So in the month of March,
Yes.
we're going to be putting out loads of recipes on social media.
Right.
And people can cook along with us.
So is this between you and Josh? You and
Me and
Joe?
Joe, yeah.
Too many J's. Jonah, Josh, Joe.
Yeah.
So between the two of you on your Facebook and social media, you'll be posting them on there?
Yeah, so we always do, and we talk about why we're doing it, we talk about the industry itself, and then how we can make small changes that will have a big impact, which actually the little slogan is a small change, big impact.
Small change,
and it's
big
just,
impact, yeah.
and you don't have to commit to the full month, but what you can do is actually swap out a couple of your meals a week,
Yeah.
and then go, oh, I've got a new recipe, I can try that, and that has a great environmental impact because you're reducing the CO2 that goes into farming.
Yeah, for sure.
All sorts of stuff that goes on, but that would take quite a while to probably talk about.
Yeah.
All of that.
Oh, yeah. So they're the sort of changes. You start a small change, as you say, and then I guess eventually it feeds up the line and gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Josh, tell me, what changes would you like to see the church as a whole take the next step to go greener in our day-to-day life?
So I've had really good chats with Tier Fund about this because they do a great job at looking at environmental issues and helping churches, and they've got all sorts of schemes and things, but not every church wants to take part in that, which I completely understand. So the church as a whole can make changes in the building. You can start with that. Obviously, replacing to LED light bulbs, stuff like that is good. Taking it to steps further, you can go for solar panels and all sorts of things like that. However, I just want to take this right back to basics for individuals in a church, and I think we sort of touched upon this, that it's really important to know that it's a really personal thing, and any small change can help. You don't need to go and make drastic changes, although that is a really good thing to do. Starting small is a really good way, and also boosts your mental health as well, making these small changes like anything. So the first and most important thing for a church is that we can pray. And praying is just an amazing thing that we can get off our thoughts and our feelings, and we just send them straight up to God, and we know that he's taking care of what we're doing. So that's really important. And we can pray for small things and changes to our life. What changes can I make? And speak to God. And then you'll hear and you'll see a clearer picture. I find that to be really helpful for me in my journey. The second thing is making small changes to our lifestyle. So these may be things that we've heard from God or things that we've seen, or, it's really individual. I'm just going to put a disclaimer out there that it doesn't have to be drastic all the time. It can be really, really minute changes. So, for instance, for me, and these are just suggestions, you can obviously find your own. For me, I've gone from changing from plastic shampoo and conditioner to bars. That's just reducing my plastic intake. Other things that you can do as well, of course, is going to bags for life as opposed to plastic. So I'm sort of on the plastic thing here, but of course, and milk as well. Milk's a really big one. We in the UK we drink a lot of tea, and we like to have milk. I know that my wife Gemma.
Yeah, I was going to say,
she's
for those of you who don't know, Josh is married to my sister, and she, the whole way through her childhood, drank a considerable amount of milk. I would argue more than any other child.
Yeah, more than anyone put together.
Anyone in the world.
Yeah. Anyway.
Slight diversion, but yes, back to that.
So milk cartons.
Yeah.
We consume a lot of those. We can go back to glass milk cartons. Glass milk cartons?
Glass milk cartons.
What do you call them? Glass milk.
Glass milk bottles.
Bottles. That's it. There you go. I'm back in the room. And that's a change that I made.
Yeah.
To reduce that. There are other smaller things as well that we can do, but I think it's really important for this to be individual and to find things for yourself. So it might just be to do more gardening and to perhaps grow some of your own fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
So there's the small changes. So that's sort of my second thing. So the first thing is to pray. The second thing is to make small changes that can have a big impact. And of course, other changes such as reducing your meat consumption, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
And then my third and final point is to take action. So this can also be completely free. You could just send a 10-minute letter to your MP. That's something I actually did this morning, to just talk about some of the thoughts and feelings you have, and see what response you get. Because it's taking it to someone who's is in the system, to government is really important. Otherwise, they won't necessarily act. So doing that is really important. And then you can get involved, of course, in big action projects. So I'd love to do something like a beach clean or a march walk, as we were talking about earlier.
March, meat-free march.
All those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But there's so much out there already. There's so many
definitely.
initiatives and schemes that are really fun to do.
Yeah.
And just nice days out, and you can do it. And go and plant a tree, do that with your family. So there's all those things. So I just find that those are the best things that I have found.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't always have to be big. Starting small and then work your way up.
Yeah.
And then you can make more changes as you go along, as you feel comfortable.
Yeah. So it's pray, make small changes that make a big impact, and action.
Yeah.
And action can be as little as talking to someone about it, or
Yeah.
putting a post on Facebook saying, "Look, I've got no shampoo bottles. I've just got a shampoo bar now."
Yeah.
Things like that. Those are the things that we can all take upon ourselves to do.
Yeah, of course. And it's always good to be just really positive as
Yeah.
well. I mean, there's lots of it's really difficult on social media sometimes, isn't it? Where we find that what's on there is always really forward and telling you what to do. It's really good, just like this, just to have a conversation, with people, and urge people to help make the world a better place.
Yeah.
We're called to be good stewards of the earth, and
Definitely, yeah.
and that's what I feel is right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming in, talking to me, and indulging me with all of the greenness in your life.
You're welcome.
It's definitely opened my eyes. It's definitely. Actually, talking about opening my eyes, my glasses are recycled, made 100% from, well, not 100% because the glass in them, obviously, but the frames, 100% from recycled glass bottles.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Specsavers.
Very good.
Yeah. So there's a little change that I made. Just completely forgot about that until now.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, thank you very much for talking to me. I'm
welcome.
sure we will put many clips from this online. But if you feel like you've watched this and you want to comment on it and say actually how are you making changes in your life, then please feel free, comment, message us. Just let us know what changes you've made. And actually, if you're one of those people that could help us make more changes, then yeah, get in contact. We'd love to do more cleaning up of the local neighbourhood, beach cleans. I'd love spending a day on the beach
Litter
anyway.
picking.
So yeah, litter picking.
Yeah, easy stuff.
So thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Josh, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And yeah, that's all for this week. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us on today's episode of Community Conversation. I really enjoyed talking to Josh. And if you have a passion that you want to talk about, please just drop us a message, get in contact, and we'll sort out a time. Then we can sit down, have a conversation, and upload it. Thank you very much for listening, watching. Have a good week.